keep following the leader.
Follow the leader, follow the leader, follow the leader.
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
Boundary would be asking for emotional space to process your feelings and recharge without feeling guilty or pressured to constantly share. That's a boundary. You know, another example of an emotional boundary would be to set limits on how much energy you give. So you're not available for everyone to dump emotionally draining stuff on you all the time. Asking your partner to be sensitive around certain topics because they might trigger you. That's an example of a boundary. Telling your partner what you feel and what you don't feel comfortable with him sharing with his family and friends about you. Establish time on how soon or late you can respond to text messages. That's a boundary. Ask if it's okay to come in and vent about a bad day. Those are emotional boundaries.
Listen, she's talking about boundaries. Are there psychic boundaries? Spiritual ethics. Should you tell your partner about your psychic ability? And should it be priority like telling them about your STD history? Listen, I can read minds. Listen, I am clairvoyant, clairaudient. I can hear, I can see, and I can perceive in multiple dimensions. I'm letting you know now. And some people might say, let me explain something to you guys about relationships. Psychology, as Dean Radin just explained, psychology is rooted in Western thought. Western thought is limited. It's linear. It's fact-based, right? What did he say was the primary key to developing extrasensory perception or honing your skills in remote viewing? He said belief. Belief, which is counterintuitive to the Western model of replicate, reproduce, show evidence. Do you see? I'm gonna say something that's really powerful. God is beyond evidence. Like, I don't think you guys understand that. God is beyond evidence. Now, I'm going to go even deeper. You haven't even been into a relationship really until you tap into these other worlds, these other spiritual levels, these other dimensions of consciousness. Do you understand? Most of us lean so heavily on society's definition of what a relationship is. Gender roles, and this is what you're supposed to do, and this is what you're supposed to do, and the Netflix bill is due. We're so caught up in the anxiety of living at a low level of consciousness. Concepts like what I'm presenting tonight, it sounds shocking, but the reality of it is, if you're dating somebody, and I know you have, how many women, brothers, are you listening? And sisters, are you listening? How many brothers out there, your woman has said, I ain't got to look for nothing. I ain't got to go snooping around. What I need to know will be revealed. It's almost like that's in the Black Girl Handbook of How many times, brothers, have you heard, I ain't got to go look for nothing? What I need to know, if you're not going to tell me what I need to know will be revealed. How many times, brothers, has a sister told you what's going on because I had a dream? You heard Dean Radin in the first hour explain that that's one of, somebody said once, I've heard it once. Yes, I've heard it a lot. Tapped in said it comes to you right to your lap if you want it or not. Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. The intersection of psychic abilities and intimate relationships is a deeply fascinating yet complex terrain. For individuals who possess extrasensory perception, or ESP, remote viewing skills, or heightened psychic sensitivities, traditional concepts of boundaries are often challenged in ways that require careful navigation. The question of psychic security, understood as the process of establishing healthy relationship boundaries where ESP-sensitive individuals are concerned, demands not only a psychological, philosophical, and clinical analysis, but also a spiritually rigorous approach that accounts for the fluidity of human experience and the interconnectedness of mind, body, and spirit. This is heavy. Most people aren't even thinking these things when they get into a relationship. When you're in a relationship with another human being, you're in a relationship with all of that. Mind, body, and soul. You really are. You really are. And I know we don't want to deal with it. I know we have a central nervous system that is designed to block out information that is not locked into, our sensibilities, right? Confirmation bias, right? But in order to tap in at a deeper level, you would have to kind of switch that off so you can tap into what they call these parallel universes of information. Now, if you slip in and out of that, what is your responsibility to your partner to reveal what you know and how you got it, and did you get it without their permission? In this context, dating someone who is ESP sensitive, whether a psychic, medium, or trained remote viewer, raises significant questions about privacy. How do partners safeguard their personal experiences, thoughts, and emotions from someone who can seemingly perceive them without direct communication? Dr. David R. Hawkins, in his exploration on consciousness and spiritual enlightenment, emphasizes that true power in relationship lies in integrity and alignment with the higher truth. For an ESP-sensitive individual, ethical self-regulation becomes essential. Psychic boundaries, just like emotional or physical ones, need to be respected. How you gonna call me out for cheating and you knew nothing about it, and it was all clean, and I was getting it together, I was about to move this person on, but you found out psychically, and now you want to confront me about it? You'd be surprised how messy relationships are. The fact that we are not using these psychic abilities, let's just be honest. The fact that we're not using psychic abilities and we haven't learned to cultivate them or develop them. Can you imagine what's not being seen? What's not being said? I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm not saying that's the right way to handle it. Obviously, it's not. However, it's equally wrong to tap in before you've gotten permission, before you've been invited in. We got questions. We got callers on the line. This is going to be deep. Who's been on the longest? Kirk from Pasadena. Dina Love in the building. What up, Kirk? What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Hey, how you doing? Your guest was great.
He was awesome, right?
And you're good at this too, but he was only half right.
Tell us more.
And everything you just read, all that was wrong.
Tell us more.
This is the way the world, the universe, everything really works. Now try to imagine this. You are a spiritual being. Mm-hmm. It lasts forever. Mm-hmm. Your body is the avatar of that being. I'm a spiritualist, which means my spirit talks to me all the time. We just go back and forth. That's how I know this stuff. As far as you talking about monitoring or controlling your emotion, your spirit is not going to allow you to tell a woman something that she should not know because it knows the future. It already knows what's going to happen to you, whatever you say. So you really don't have to worry about misusing it. It won't allow you to. You can't misuse something that you can't control. It is actually in control of you, and it's not the other way around.
Come on.
And what a spiritualist is somebody who understands this and then gives the spirit the permission to control my whole life. I do what my spirit wants to do.
And you really have and you're saying you have no control over that. Your spirit is the one that's driving the car, is what you're telling me.
It's the one. Yours is driving you. You just don't realize it.
Say more. I need go deeper, brother. You got space. I want to hear it.
Well, I would like to go deep. I'd meet up with you at your cigar lounge. Is the whole thing smoky? Because I can't handle the smoke.
Man, I will take you into my chairman's lounge where I have exclusive access. You can come in and sit down with me, man. It won't be no smoke at all. Come on.
I'm off on Saturday night.
But Kirk, you got to give the listeners something. It's not just for me. They want to hear it too.
Okay. If you want to connect with your spirit, if you want to become a spiritualist, the first thing you must do is you must give it a name. My name is Kurt. I call mine Big Kurt. Once you start to identify with it, then you start asking it questions all the time. What you think is intuition is really your spirit trying to communicate with you. You know, have you ever had the feeling of deja vu?
Yes.
It feels like you've been somewhere before, right?
Right.
Well, you could not have been there before because that thing has not happened yet. However, your spirit has seen it before, so you're just catching up to something your spirit has already seen. You know, your spirit controls everything, but we're listening to everything but our spirit. We're trying to read books, and these people don't know. Remote viewing, they don't know what they're doing. All they're doing is their spirit is actually the one that's controlling all. They're trying to control their spirit instead of the other way around.
Interesting. And this is deep. This is deep.
The whole thing is deep.
The reason why I say this is deep, the reason why I'm so interested in all of this is because I know relationships, the ones we're currently in, are actually larger than the way we're living in them.
You have no idea.
That's why I need you, Kirk. Come on, Kirk. Give me.
I can tell you. In fact, I don't want to offend you, but every time I hear you mention the word spirituality, I kind of cringe because it's not really what you think it is.
That's not going to offend me, Kirk. Give me the information, man. Come on.
Well, okay. All I'm saying is that your spirit is who you really are. Your avatar is just a projection.
Yes. Right. Don't be offended, Kirk, that I don't have the depth and breadth of knowledge that you have. That's why you're here. You're supposed to teach me. I'm a willing student right now.
I'll come to the lounge.
You come to the lounge, man. Have a cigar on me. We're going to have a good time. You in my hometown of Pasadena. I love it, man. You brought Pasadena in the building. I'm
from Altadena Drive.
Come on, Altadena Drive. I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, thank you for calling in, Kirk, and I can't wait to see you, man. We'll talk about it more. When we come forward, the voice of reason, going back to the phone lines. We're going to Fayetteville, North Carolina, and then we're going to Chicago, Illinois. Let's talk about it.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
I can't stop asking my partner if they're angry at me. I'm always afraid I've done something to upset them, and I feel like they're getting more and more upset with me the more I keep asking. What do I do? It's a good question.
It's a good question.
This happens all the time. You and I both
Did we
do this.
demonstrate it? No, we didn't demonstrate it this episode. We have demonstrated
it. We're probably...
Listen, we have a lot of great clips, but the callers are just dominating this show right now, and I want to get them in. And I don't want them to wait a second longer than they have to. So maybe we'll revisit some of these clips on the next shows. But the callers are here, and this is such a robust topic, and people want to participate. Nikki from Chicago has been on the longest. Nikki, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Hey, so.
Hey.
I wanted to say that, am I getting feedback?
No, you're good. You're perfect.
Okay, good. All right. I wanted to say first that, the guest was wonderful. He was awesome. The Dean Radin. He was great.
Dean Radin, yes.
He was great, yeah. I identify with what you were saying earlier about like keeping it to your chest, kind of like everything doesn't need to be exposed. I used to be real, like jittery with it. I would come out with it and express it all the time. And I'm not asking questions. I'm making statements. You know, I'd always be very, very like forward with it, you know, and telling everybody what I could see. And then an older lady told me, she said, everything you know, everyone else doesn't need to know, you know. And so I started holding it to myself, my chest. I started holding it to my chest more. And it just really, like, I identify with what the other caller was saying. Kurt, I believe, was his name.
Kurt, yeah.
I believe, yeah, with what he was saying. Like, I could see how he was, how he's had some experiences that are familiar to me. And it's just really like how he was saying that the spirit controls everything. I've read your books. I've heard you say that too, you know. But like, it's like it gets very jittery inside of me, kind of sometimes. So I identify with what Dean Radin was saying too, where like it's coming from so many different directions, you know, and you don't know how to rein it in. So I get that learning how to channel it can be more effective too, you know. But
stuff.
yeah, it's a real powerful thing. It's pulled me in this relationship that I've been in for the past 3 years, where like I feel like a betrothal. Like I feel like I'm bound to this man that I've never wanted to be married before, you know. I never wanted to be in a like long-term relationship. I never cared one way or the other, you know. And this is something different where it's like I feel like I have a commitment to him that is deeper than what he and I know, you know. It's deeper than that. And so, yeah, I really do identify with this show. I really appreciate this show very much.
Well,
this
thank
particular topic.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you for calling in. Guess what you just did?
Thank you, though. I brought Chicago in the
Chi-Town in the building. We appreciate you for calling in. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. So they say psychics have this code of ethics, right? They say if they're bona fide real psychics, right, it is crucial to follow ethical guidelines during a reading to ensure a respectful and supportive experience. Here are some key principles. Confidentiality. Always keep the client's information private. Honesty. Be truthful about your abilities and avoid making guarantees. Compassion. Approach each reading with empathy and understanding. And then there's consent. Ensure the client is comfortable and has given permission for the reading. Boundaries. Avoid giving medical, legal, or financial advice. Encourage clients to consult professionals in those fields. Now, let me just say, why did I read that? Because I think it's also important in a relationship context. If you're gifted in that way, there should be some spiritual boundaries. I don't know how many of you guys are fans of the television show True Blood, right? It was on HBO. It ran for 7 seasons, and it was centered around this girl. Her name was Sookie, and the vampires were drawn to her like candy. They could smell her because, come to find out, she's a fairy, and fairies are candy, right? To vampires. Oh my God! Every time a vampire saw her in this television series, they would say, "What are you?" Because she smelled different. She was catnip. She was irresistible to vampires. But one of her abilities was she was a psychic. Right? She was a psychic. And all of the people in her life, from her family to her co-workers and her friends, would get upset because she could just read their thoughts. And they would get mad. They would be like, "Hey, I didn't give you permission. Why are you just speaking on something I'm thinking about in my mind, right? And it was a big deal. And I think there should be a certain level of integrity and ethics involved if you have a partner that is sensitive in that way. And I keep saying relationships are bigger than the level we are on currently, right? We are on a societal level, a fear-based level, a trust and loyalty-based level, a level that talks about ownership and, all of. When I tell you, when psychology catches up to spirituality, this is why I brought Dean Radin on the show. This is a bona fide scientist who works in this field, and by bringing him on, he expanded your mind a little bit so you can see that there's way more to relating than just dating. I got callers on the line. I want to get them in. Let's talk. Who's been on the longest? Shantae, Fayetteville, North Carolina. How's the weather out there? Are you guys okay?
Oh, well, we have a lot of rain. I'm sorry. Hold on, I hear feedback. Is that a little better?
Yeah, you're great. Talk to me.
Okay. It's a lot of rain, a lot of wind right now. We're on a water advisory, have to boil our water, but I think we'll be okay. Not as bad as Florida's getting it.
Nah, Florida's getting it tough. Florida is getting
Yes,
it tough.
sir.
So tell me, how do you feel about tonight's topics? What are your thoughts? I mean, it's wide-ranging, it's nuanced, but how do you feel about it?
It's a wonderful topic, honestly speaking. My husband and I got a reading from you about 5 years ago.
Oh, really?
It was a pretty good one. Needless to say, we didn't really follow those rules, but,
Okay.
But what I wanted to know when your guest was on, he's absolutely awesome, and Big Kurt took it away from me a little bit. He was awesome, too.
Big Kurt was on fire. I love Big Kurt. Love it.
Yes, he was. Me and Miss Nikki are almost into the same kind of realm where she says she gets kind of jittery and things of that nature. That was kind of my question for the guest. How do I become more disciplined when these, signs come from, or I get these signs, whether it be a deja vu, whether it be a reoccurring dream?
Oh, this is good. This is good. Listen, stay right there. Don't move.
Yes, sir.
When we come forward, we're going back to Fayetteville, North Carolina. Let's get it.
When I'm loving you, foreplay at 1 minute till 2. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me it ain't good enough. Tell me, babe. Let me know.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Governor Kathy Hochul, who has the power to remove Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams as he reels from a federal indictment, is staying fairly quiet. According to the New York Times, the governor is assessing the charges against Adams and mulling the decision, adding that her number one responsibility is to make sure that the people of the city and the state are served. Ahead of the indictment, Hochul and Adams' allies said she's monitoring the situation, calling it a very serious matter that's been unfolding. 3 Democratic mayoral candidates, several state senators, and city council members are all calling for Mayor Adams to step down. The jury is deliberating the case of a man accused of killing Black Memphis rapper Young Dolph. After closing arguments and jury instructions, the jurors retreated to the deliberation room to determine the fate of defendant Justin Johnson. Johnson and Cornelia Smith are charged with the murder of Adolph Thornton Jr., a.k.a. Young Dolph, in November 2021. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Hey DQ fans! The ultimate cookie blizzard treat is the dessert that has it all. With Oreo, Chips Ahoy, and Nutter Butter, this blizzard treat has everything cookie lovers dream of. Don't wait! This one-of-a-kind confection won't be here long. Only at participating DQ.
You're invited to join KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress for a vice presidential debate watch party featuring Governor Tim Walz versus Senator J.D. Vance, Tuesday, October 1st at 6 p.m. immediately following the debate. Broadcast live here on KBLA Talk 1580. There will be a live panel discussion. Refreshments will be served and seating is limited. So RSVP right away at KBLA1580.com. That's KBLA1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. If we're the ones disproportionately impacted by these climate catastrophes, why should we be silent? Turning up the volume all year long on the climate conversation for KBLA Talk 1580.
Tips to help improve basic steps for building a budget in 2024. Building a budget can help you achieve and reach your financial goals. With a budget, you can keep track of your spending, avoid and get out of debt, limit overspending, pay bills on time, and build solid savings habits. What's the best way to get started? Figure out how much to set aside for expenses, like rent, mortgage, bills, groceries, and entertainment. Understanding your past financial habits can help you make the proper adjustments for your budget. Adjusting to a budget can take time as you work to find the right balance, but keep working on it. For more financial health tips, visit chase.com or stop by a local branch. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
All
no chronic in the world can even mess with you. You're the ultimate high. You know what I'm saying, baby? Now check this out.
Take my money, my house and my cars for one hit of you. You can have it all, baby. 'Cause making love every time we do, girl, is worse than drugs. 'Cause I'm an addict of you.
How many of you feel like you spend so much of your time over-focused on how other people feel? How they feel? Are they mad at you? Are they upset? Are they having a bad day? Did you do something wrong? Are you in trouble? How many of you do that and also will think, I know this isn't about me, but what if it is? This is the heart of what is often called, I believe, chronic hypervigilance, but a term I recently came across which kind of targets a subset of chronic hypervigilance, and that term is emotional monitoring. I feel like the term emotional monitoring underestimates the impact, and that something like living in a state of chronic hypervigilance, common for those of us with both trauma and autism, often ADHD, this overlap of needing to read other people's emotions in the service and sacrifice of our own needs and self often dominates our lives. And to me, the concept of something like this course I made about having a hypervigilance.
I allowed that video to play, even though I have a caller waiting. And the reason why is because it's in context. This hypervigilance, emotional hypervigilance. Let me tell you something about abilities, psychic, mindfulness, meditation, self-realization. The rise up the consciousness ladder requires you to be at peace. So when I'm listening to the sister Shantae, I hope I'm saying her name right, and
Yes, sir.
and the sister before her, I forgot the sister's name. What was her name? I forgot the sister's name. I'm sorry. She was calling out of the shy. Here's the thing. Where there is fear, there will be a blockage. So when you say, she said jittery, right? That jitteriness is really anxiety, right? There's a fear associated sometimes with one's ability. If you can get into a space where you can become the eye of the storm, right? Whatever it is, whatever is going on in your life, whatever you're perceiving, because sometimes in the perception of certain things, it's shocking to you to know, right? Like, oh, wow, is that what's really going on? And then sometimes you second guess. Is that intuition, or is that my insecurity? Do you see? So you have to get to a space where when you, and it's crazy, you have to practice it before it happens. This is what I mean by that. When I say practice before it happens. Not practice the sight, practice the state you're in when the sight comes. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Practice the state you're in when the sight comes. Now, there is a book, unfortunately, I can't find it on Amazon, and the reason why is because it's really old. It's written by a group called the Three Initiates. Okay? They wrote a book I tell people to get all the time, which is the KBLA, the Hermetic philosophy. But they have a bunch of books. I had about 25 of their books, in my 30s, and I got them in boxes somewhere. But this particular book that I'm directing you toward is a book that I read 15 times. And I even gave it to my son as a means to center himself on the basketball court. The book is called Seership.
Seership.
Seership, written by the 3 initiates. Seership. Okay? Now, what's interesting is it's old, sure, but Seers, as a matter of fact, Yogi Publications. There we go. Come on, Zoe. That memory, boy. I get old. Yogi Publications, right?
Yes,
the book
sir.
is called Seership. Okay? Now, what's interesting to me is that a lot of the concepts and principles in that book are being adopted by modern day psychology. Psychology has a whole section now called mindfulness, where they're dealing with how to be mindful. And what that does is quiet your spirit down. You can't see if you have an uproarious spirit, if you have an agitated spirit. Now, the Hindus would say, they would call that the monkey mind, because in meditation, we're trying to force ourselves to stop thoughts from happening.
Yes, sir.
But you're supposed to allow those thoughts to flow. And eventually, without resistance, if you just stay centered, not focused, because focus is forced, right? You are trying to get those thoughts to stop, and in the attempt of trying to get them to stop, they are reinforced. You must be in a state of allowing, especially sisters, and I believe that sisters are far more attuned to these abilities than men are. Not that men don't have these abilities, but women are far more attuned to them. And I would just say the lower level of consciousness deals with unchecked emotional states. So when you guys can get books on emotional regulation, especially if you came from a toxic family where you didn't learn how to regulate your emotions or your feelings weren't accepted, it's going to be difficult for you to hone your intuitive powers. You have to learn how to control these states, because sometimes the information you get will, in fact, be overwhelming. Right?
Yes, sir.
Does that make sense?
It does, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure you were tapped in with me. Okay? So, mindfulness, pay attention. Notice the world around you and experience it with all your senses. For example, when eating, take the time to smell and taste your food. This is mindfulness, right? Practice body scans. Close your eyes and scan your body, paying attention to sensations and emotions in each part of your body. Right? Okay? Practice mindful movement. Try yoga, tai chi, or dance, or take a walk. Practice journaling, writing down your thoughts. And remember, when you write your thoughts down, do not write your disdain or judgment for what you're thinking. Do you hear that?
That's pretty good. I like that, because I do that very often.
Wait, stay with me. When we come forward, I'm going to continue this clinic.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelinos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV. Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. SMP volunteers work in their community, educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an SMP open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit ca-smp-volunteer.org. Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Quand you call me papi, but it seems like they you've been seeing another chico.
How can remote viewing benefit you?
Okay, well, so first, obviously, there's the practical applications. I addressed one or two of them. There's others. People will want to help find missing kids, or help the police or whatever. A very hard thing to do, by the way, because the police don't necessarily trust this kind of thing.
Right.
They may want to use it for investing, like I suggest with ARV. It's been used in archaeology in the past, but and probably will be again. And actually, it is now. I did an archaeological remote viewing session on Monday for somebody, by the way. So anyway, but by far the most people come and take my classes, actually, and I hope to resume them after this whole COVID thing gets resolved one way or the other. The people who come to take my classes by far, even though they may have some practical application in mind, mostly it's a self-actualization tool. So I like to compare it to jumping out of parachutes, or jumping out of airplanes with a parachute. I used to do that in the Army, so I understand this really well. So you can use parachutes for all kinds of practical purposes, including putting combat troops in or getting supplies in, smoke jumpers, that. But the largest number of people today who pursue it, at least in the civilian world, do it just because they're overcoming something that seems to be an obstacle in.
So that guy that's talking right there is Paul H. Smith. He's been on my show before as well. Paul H. Smith, he's major in the U.S. Army. He's retired. He is the author of Reading the Enemy's Mind Inside Stargate, America's Psychic Espionage Program, and the Essential Guide to Remote Viewing. I've had him on my show before as well. Like, this is a real thing, and like he said, there are practical uses for it, and I believe that it up-levels intimate relating when we can connect on deeper levels and not levels that are fear-based. I'm trying to get us into this, I'm trying to get us to move up the ladder of consciousness as described and defined by Dr. David R. Hawkins. But I have a caller on the line. I want to get to her. Shantae, Fayetteville. I was still breaking some things down in terms of, squashing that sense of anxiety when you are, I don't want to say triggered, but when this ability comes over you, right? That's what we were talking about, right?
Yes, start getting more disciplined with it. Yeah.
And where I was at was practice journaling, right? But you can't write anything down with judgment and or fear.
Correct.
Right? And that's very important, because people think the only way you can participate in negative self-talk is what you say in your head. But you can also write negatively about you and or your experiences. And here's the thing. When you write negative things about you and or your experiences, say in context of journaling, you're actually bringing it into reality. It's now out of your head and now onto the paper. It lives in the same reality you live in. So let's not give it a foothold or an anchoring in our reality. So that's something you can practice in order to squash the anxiety. And these are all mindfulness techniques. And then all of a sudden, you also have to practice meditation. But remember, meditation is not outcome oriented, right? Many of us want an outcome. Let me go meditate so I can calm down. That can't be the purpose. The purpose is, let me sit and listen for whatever comes. Let me sit and listen without judgment to whatever comes. Right?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Do you see the visualization? Let me visualize myself as a wave. Right? Do you see? These are the practices that get you out of what the Hindu calls the monkey mind, where the thoughts are just random and constantly going. Okay? Then you have to practice acceptance. Treat yourself with kindness and acceptance. I talked a little bit about that in the journaling piece. Then you have to watch your thoughts. Right? And then, more importantly, be patient with the process. Again, if you go in looking for an outcome, typically you contaminate it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
All right, I hope I helped you, young lady.
You did. You have no idea how much you helped me, and I didn't even have to say that much. All of this is just clicking right now, and it's like, wow, I never thought of it that way.
We ain't got nothing but love for you, all right? You got a seat at the table. Call in anytime you like, okay?
Yes, sir. You have a great night.
You too. Stay out of the rain. Attila, Houston, Texas, call back in here. Get in here, Attila. What happened?
Child, listen. I'm here no talk about attachment and ego, yeah? I wanted to know what you think about your attachment and your ego preventing you from maximizing spiritual gifts that you may have.
Yeah, you have to remember, if we're talking about insecure attachment, there will be there will be attachment wounds that come with insecure attachment, and see those wounds as artists. They have a palette and they color your experience. You don't want your experience colored by a wound. Do you see? Because it warps what you see. So, in fact, you actually don't see. You see something, you see an interpretation of an unhealed wound. So it's very, very important that healing takes place. Now, here's the problem. You can't separate your gift from your wounds, right? As long as you have your wounds, they have license to color your gifts, right? Like, to make it simple, like, when you look at, say, LeBron James, super talented, gifts, can play the game, super athletic, right? But guess what? As a father, I can't be like my daddy, which is a good thing. But if it's coming from the space of not I just want to be a great father, no, it's I can't be like him. I have to be do you see the impetus for why? And I'm not saying this is LeBron James specifically. I'm just saying typically guys like that who've had a negative situation with their father, they either become exactly who their father is or was, or they have an abhorrence of who he was, and they try, listen to what I'm saying, try to be the opposite. Remember, it's not about doing, it's about being. And this is what we get mixed up in intimate relationships. We want love, but we don't understand that in order to get love, we must be love, so we no longer have a desire to get it from somewhere else. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, I was just thinking about the verse that I had dropped the other day, right? So the gifts of the Spirit are without repentance. I think when you talk about being abhorrent to the image that, or the presence that your father may have laid out if you didn't have a good relationship with him, comes from the idea that people don't understand that you can still be gifted and unrepentant at the same time. Meaning unchanged, ignorant of spiritual law, whatever you want to say. So,
but stay with me, Attila. That's the same thing. You have a gift that is colored by an insecure attachment wound. You're a menace. You don't have spiritual integrity. You're going to give yourself the space and grace to do harm. Dean Radin explained it when he said that's when you see the Jim Joneses of the world. You know, they're going to use this darkness in them, and the gift is going to be filtered through the darkness, which is the unhealed wound.
Or you're going to just continue whatever behavior you had prior to whatever, and just it's going to look contrary. This is why you see pastors doing crazy stuff, right?
Come on.
The man is still anointed or gifted, but also human at the same time. And I had written a true or false question where I said attachment seeks to conquer, but love seeks to surrender. And I think that's kind of what the word was getting at when it says that you have to surrender to self. So,
and I would say, no, I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't add anything to that. Attachment seeks to conquer, and love seeks to surrender. Come on, that's the word. That's the word. Attila, you brought Houston, Texas in for the second time. We appreciate everybody who tapped in. Listen, I started the conversation. It's up to you to finish it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm out for the rest of for the rest of the week. I'll see y'all Monday with another slapper. Deuces.
Just for tonight, and maybe we can do something like make love, watch the sunrise, or listen to JoJo, Casey sing us a verse. Slide close, baby. Let the voice feel you. Oh, you feel so